You should join me.
What are you wicked? Very stupid.
Katika mvote rimani. Katika mvote mvote. Halo.
We've just clashed with UPND. These are Trushi Kasanda's people. She's there as well. They've come to a ward where we're supposed to be having our activities. As we're speaking right now, our honorable is in the car. He's been bundled into the UPND car. The cadres have attacked us. And they had blocked both our vehicles. We were trying to make our way out. Unfortunately, when reversing, I hit into the car that was parked in my rear, in the back of this vehicle. So right now, we're waiting for the police to come through. We don't have an idea what they're doing to Honorable Banda Moses. This is happening right now at Lifambola. And we had our people gathered here. Unfortunately, the UPND came through and they started addressing the people that we had gathered. So those people were waiting for us, and we don't know. The arrogance of these people had us clash and have been attacked right now. This is the state of my shirt. I'm with Mr. Ngala here. We are just waiting, and the police.
The youths of Western Province, Barose youths, the youths of Lozi youth. Congratulations for protecting your land. Congratulations for chasing Dudukwe and the Chaba away from your land. We didn't mean it. You didn't. The youth were burning in anger. Then you, all of a sudden, I also blame the police of Zambia. You guys must be very serious with what you are doing. Stop sleeping. The timetable that was permitted, authorized, and given by ECZ says that there is no road show. You are disturbing people. People are spending hours on the road because of Mundibile. There is no road show. HH is not doing any road show. Did you see any HH doing any road show? The reason why there was a road show in 2021 is because there was COVID. There was no time for rally. There was no opportunity given for rally. The only people that we are doing rally, we are the PF. The only thing HH could do was to drive through the road. There is no COVID. You have been given timetable to say, have your rally here. Instead of doing rally, you start causing traffic on the road. Disturbing innocent people. Pee in the market everywhere. And the police is watching this nonsense. What kind of thing is this? Don't provoke us, please. Do your job. The job that these Barose youths have done today is the job that the police is supposed to do. Road show is not in the timetable. Stop disturbing people. Many people couldn't go.
Mr. President, these people are destroying your reputation and your testimony. You are so quiet, sir. You are so quiet, sir. It's time that you speak out. This violence is just too much. If you don't know, ask your intelligence. Voice out. Me, I'm a watchman. I speak. I will speak. I will speak so that the blood does not fall on my head or remain. I will speak. It's not well out there. We are just calling it. It's just the language of faith that you say it is well. The fact is Zambia needs prayers and Zambia needs healing. We need reconciliation. We need to forgive one another. How do you carry stones and you want to hammer your friend, a Zambian, a fellow Zambian? How to carry a machete? Some of these people, they are so close to us. They are dear to us. No, bruvatu. So we should not bury our heads in the sand and say, no. Our God.
August 2026, just 9 days away from our general elections, and we review the paper what the paper say. Today, you may have forgotten, it's a momentous day. It's been 14 months since we lost Zambia's second president, Zambia's sixth president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. He remains unburied. We're not dwelling on that, but we remember. We always clock every 5th of the month. We remember what has happened to our beloved one. We also remember Catherine Kaunda, former diplomat, and she was living in Namibia. She died in our country. I think when she was unwell, she decided to return to Zambia, and she passed on, I think, last week. She hasn't been put to rest. We are calling on government to immediately remember this woman. She's a first daughter to Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, our first president. She died, and we understand there's been no recognition from government, even from her family members, for whatever family matters is. But she's highly honored in Namibia. Remember, Sam Nujoma remembered when Dr. Kaunda was being persecuted, he personally took that matter. He says, I cannot allow a man that kept us for so many years sacrifice his national resources for our liberation to be hounded out by his own government. He provided a house for Dr. Kaunda and for Catherine. And remember, other presidents responded. Dos Santos responded in Angola and gave another child of Dr. Kaunda a home in Angola. So we remember Catherine Kaunda was passed on, and we urge the government to resolve whatever issues is around this matter. The family, I think the funeral is in Makeni, but we understand that, even basic things like food, basic things like a coffin haven't been processed. Because remember, she's lived all her life in Namibia, but she came to rest in Zambia, and as soon as she arrived, a few days later, she passed on. That's the case of Catherine Kaunda. I have a very powerful team today that is analyzing the newspapers with me. Let me just bring them over so that you greet them. We are a panel of 3 today, and we'll be inviting you for your comments. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Quickly share. This is your premier program in the morning, and it gives information unfiltered, verified, and without qualms to the political status of whatever the facts are. We are not sugarcoating the facts. We are not in any way hiding any facts. So share the broadcast. Don't enjoy the broadcast alone. Let me bring my power pack team that I have with me. Former PS Chanda Wakazia, thank you very much, and sorry for going to bed very late, because I know in Canada you are deep in the night like me. Welcome to the program, and how have you been?
Well, I've been fine, and thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you very much, Brian. I hope you're okay. Yeah, it has been long, and thanks very much that we are sharing a platform after a long time. So I am deeply honored.
Thank you so much. I appreciate as well. I know it's also deep in the night. This is 1:16 in the morning. Yeah, but these are urgent times. So I appreciate you finding time as well to join us.
Thank you very much, family, for joining us, and thank you for discussing these national matters. For our dear audience, quickly share. Just click on the share button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and also share. And we're live on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, on Spotify, and on many pages. So quickly just share so that the people may know that you are here. This is what the papers say, and we are only 8 days away from voting, and the violence has taken over. So let me just do this. the violence that has taken over the last few days really shook Zambians. You know, the dark days of violence that have occurred the last few days have alarmed all of us. You know, have threatened our peace, our national security. There's been a great attempt by the state to show that these are sporadic, isolated, but we know the build up to where we are, where the entire nation has been silenced by cyber laws, the build up to all this, where we fear that Zambia may not hold democratic, credible, transparent, and free and fair elections. The build up to everything that has been occurring, the social crisis that's facing our people, you know, the high cost of living, and just the environment they are living in. And then you pepper it, you bring in political violence, and I say, it's like no one learns. Our politicians are so short-sighted. They never learn from history. What caused the removal of UNIP, especially towards the end, political violence, by vigilante. And I don't know if my guests remember Idi Ashinyaba vigilante. What caused Rupia Banda to lose election, besides everything else, the issue of political violence has also had come to the forefront. The PF re-election was affected, and they lost that election, besides all other matters, partly to cadreism and political violence. So the UPND to go full throttle with this violence is a high political risk, and that's why they've engaged in all sorts of explanations to shift blame, transfer blame, blame others other than them themselves who are doing the violence. We've seen violence from nomination period that, you know, that went across the country, including in the stronghold of the UPND in Southern Province. And the last few days, we've seen attacks in Mwembeshi, where a musician has been hurt. Sensitive viewers, you can look away. You know, that's our dear brother, General Kanene. He was hacked. He had several injuries, and he was in hospital as at yesterday. And then we saw the violence in Kembe. We saw the violence that was in Mwembeshi, violence in Kembe. And yesterday, the other day, in Livingstone, where UPND cadres took it upon themselves that they will not allow the opposition to witness the arrival of ballot papers. And they said they had strict instructions from whoever not to allow the opposition. And they beat up the opposition. The police had to fire both live ammunition and tear gas canisters. You saw the videos. Is this our country? This is Zambia we want. I'll ask my team to look at this. So let me just quickly go through the newspapers that we are looking at. Our newspaper, EMV, is also talking about, Makebi Zulu urged the president to stop the violence. We saw the president issue a statement. He's condemning the violence. No, when you are head of state, you don't condemn the violence. You act, you stop it. You have instruments, state apparatus to stop the violence. The must, is urging people to be very alert. Civil society leader Brebna Changala is leading with that story and is urging citizens that vote protection will not be done by political parties, by civil society, by observers and monitors. It will be done by you. So be alert. From the transportation of ballot papers, ensure that you witness, even as a member of the community. Do not leave this work to political parties. Elections are a people's issue. The newspapers have not covered this. Valden Findlay, just like when they arrested Yui Mwala, the Copperbelt Police Provincial Commissioner, all newspapers that they stayed away from the news. We carried the news because obviously they wanted confirmation. He was a senior officer and they didn't want, to go with the news. Even when they had confirmation, similarly, everyone is silent on the literally abduction of Valden Findlay from his hospitality facility that he has in Chisamba. The police stormed his area, whisked him away. He was with family and with clients because this is a commercial place that he has in Chisamba. They whisked him away, and by broadcast time last time, yesterday, to Zambians and our lawyers, we understand they kept on moving him. They brought him to Ibex Hill. When the lawyers found out where he was taken away to Woodlands Police. And in Woodlands Police also, we understand that's where they've detained the young people that went to Russia. I'll be looking for the names so that family members can know where these young men, they were taken to Woodlands. They've also been taken to an unknown place. They moved Valden Finlay to Woodlands police station from Ibex when the lawyers became aware. And again, when the lawyers finally traced that Valden was taken to Woodlands, again the same officers picked him up and whisked him away, and they claimed that they were taking him back to Chisamba for search, and that they will end up at Chrisma Hotel, a commercial facility, another commercial facility that he owns. In the must again, Munduvile, Brian Munduvile, leading candidate, is talking about the mining firms must pay just and fair taxes. It is their duty. This is Zambia's own resources. Their resources do not belong to President Hakainde Hichilema or his government. These are national resources, and it's duty bound by commercial entities operating in our country to pay due taxes, fair taxes. You have to pay the fair taxes. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. The Times of Zambia, a state-owned newspaper, is leading with President Hakainde Hichilema, a story that there will be a revival on cards in the Copper Belt, and that they are quoting President Hakainde Hichilema's statement that there will be no room for political violence. There's another story that I would like to bring your attention on. The mass story. TIZ condemns abuse of government vehicles in campaigns. We've seen the abuse of public resources in the name of incumbency, but you've seen hospital vehicles, ministry vehicles transporting cadres, ZNS vehicles transporting cadres. TIZ has alerted that, and they issued a comprehensive statement also condemning civil servants like Tabo Kawana and others that are meddling in political affairs. They've urged them to be, that's part of electoral irregularity if civil servants are deeply involved in partisan politics. We have the Real Times. They are quoting the president, who said they should apply the full force of the law. In this statement, gentlemen, if you've looked at the statement, the president didn't really, he was speaking like he's an opposition leader, condemning all political violence, urging all political parties to act, peaceful. He's president. First, he should have called his own party cadres that have been caught in this matter to order immediately, and then he should have directed the police. He has not mentioned the police in his statement, if you've looked at this statement, although he's saying apply full force of the law. Who will apply the full force of the law? And there's a story of a man that has killed himself over his wife who deserted. Again, these are social issues that have taken over our country, where the rate of suicides have gone high, where the rate of divorces have gone high, where the rate of street children have gone high. The emergence of our youths called junkies have gone high. That's a huge, huge story, and we don't seem to have paid attention. The News Diggers just leads with a story, chaos, and they are saying as UPND and NRPU supporters exchange stones in Western Province, they are being very, very, because they're supporting UPND in this election. They want to apportion the blame. Like this was a clash of two political parties, when it's one party that attacked the NRPUP and the police. It's one party that did that. But they're being very careful, showing chaos, and like two political entities were fighting. We'll discuss that. they're also leading with the story that the president ordered, I think this is a story from Chambeshi, when the president was in Chambeshi, where households have not been connected to power. So the president was urging that the outstanding 16,000 people that need to be connected. What a huge number to such a small town, who have applied and paid and have not been connected. The president was asking ZESCO to connect power. Where has been the Minister of Energy? Gentlemen, nami tulila ine nale teriash. Let's take up from there and you pick it up. Let's start with PS Chanda Kazia. Your remarks from the violence to the issues that we've carried.
Wow, it's a loaded. These are seriously loaded, issues, and I don't know. I'll be tackling them as we go one by one, and I think I'll start with the political violence. It is very, very disheartening when you see how our young people just stand there and butcher others because of politicians. And one thing is that this squarely falls on government. And that is why we are all telling that it's the president who has a responsibility. He can't be complaining about violence. He can't be using on your own. Just to run you through, you know that in 2021 at inauguration, he spoke about political violence. 2022, various occasions, he spoke about political violence. September 2022, the National Assembly, the Luangwa by-election, he spoke about political violence. 2023 campaigns, he spoke about political violence. April 2023, Serenje by-election, you remember when President Membe was attacked. He spoke about it. There is this narrative of you are on your own, which is never respected. I have never seen a president who would be disrespected by his own cadres to this level. The level of disrespect, where in the morning he says they're on their own, in the afternoon they attack, they beat up people, and all of a sudden they are together now. The arrogance of the cadre who literally can pick a stone and assault a police officer. I do not know any police officer or any government that can allow an opposition cadre to assault a police officer and see the end of the day. It's impossible unless someone is protecting them. The failure to stop political violence lies on the president. When the president said you are on your own, what does he really mean? Look at how people look at us like we are animals. Primitivity at its highest order. Just because of a political difference in political opinion and because someone doesn't want to support, you pick the stone, you harass them, you break their property. Look at how they were beating the musicians. Literally dragging, beating, like in this modern era. You are right, Ambassador. I was young. I just completed school when the vigilantes were there by air. It was bad. The young people now, imagine the last 5 years, the ones that were 15 years, now they're 20 years, and others that were 20, they're 25 years. What is it that they've seen as when you differ in opinion, when you differ in political affiliation? All we have taught them is that if someone is different from you, beat them up. And when the president said you're on your own, he doesn't mean it. It doesn't exist. You're on your own does not exist as long as you're wearing the political regalia of the people in government. Why were they not arrested? And then you have literally a foreigner who has no relation in Zambia here, agitating the youth, agitating the current UPND government to beat up.
That particular point, PS, that particular
I am
point,
so disheartened.
yeah, is a sore point. You know, last week, Siawan, he has a large following. And remember, he was one of their biggest campaigner, social media campaigner in 2021. So he has a large base of UPND supporters that listen to him. When Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu were in Northwestern Province and, you know, they were receiving this overwhelming response, he issued a statement condemning senior UPND and State House officials for failing to stop Mundubile. He says, stone him, if possible, take away his life. Now, we can't ignore the remarks from Siawan, who's always wearing President Hakainde Hichilema's regalia, singing praises for President Hakainde Hichilema, speaking into their blogs. He has great influence. He's a foreigner, but the UPND have put him at the center of their political campaign. And if you see in Wampa, youths pick up stones and stone Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, it's the instigation. And then the silence from the UPND, the Secretary General, the President, and others over these very dangerous remarks that Siawan is saying. And since you are on Siawan, see how he castigates the police. And you see the police who oblige, like the youths oblige. Just listen to this.
We didn't mean it. You didn't. The youth were burning in anger. Then you, all of a sudden, I also blame the police of Zambia. You guys must be very serious with what you are doing. Stop sleeping. The timetable that was permitted, authorized, and given by ECZ says that there is no road show. You are disturbing people. People are spending hours on the road because of Mundubile. There is no road show. HH is not doing any road show. Did you see any HH doing any road show? The reason why there was a road show in 2021 is because there was COVID. There was no time for rally. There was no opportunity given for rally. The only people that we are doing rally, we are the PF. The only thing HH could do was to drive through the road. There is no COVID. You have been given timetable to say, have your rally here. Instead of doing rally, you start causing traffic on the road. Disturbing innocent people. Pee in the market everywhere. And the police is watching this nonsense. What kind of thing is this? Don't provoke us, please. Do your job. The job that these Barroso youths have done today is the job that the police is supposed to do. Road show is not in the timetable. Stop disturbing people. Many people couldn't go to job because today they started early. Many people went to office late.
So why Siawan is very important is the modus operandi of the president. You know, if he wants to say something below the belt, you will see that there will be a newspaper like Koswe that will publish things that they themselves can't say. But you know who's running Koswe. So similarly, Siawan has become a very good voice for them to say things that they can't say. But then they give him these huge platform and you see reactions. What he's doing is terrorism, instigating violence in our country. I just thought I could come in, PS, on that.
But you see, it's so disheartening that when did we have a foreigner instigating ourselves to beat each other up? When did we have our government being instructed by a foreigner? I have no case of even mentioning the name. I do not want even to give him that leverage. It is disheartening. Imagine you would tell Barroso and you are proud. He doesn't have any relative in Barroso land. He doesn't have any relative anywhere in Zambia that if he's there, if he's killed, he will feel bad about it. How can we allow such things to happen? President Hakainde Hichilema, how can you allow this? You are president for all of us, all of us. That is a fact we can't take away from you. But then if someone comes, a foreigner comes and says, you guys beat each other up, you beat the people that you don't agree with, if possible, kill them. And then you are quiet about it. Quiet, like quiet, nothing. He becomes the guy who will now start to say, oh, I'm the one who put HH there. We know the chap is lying. He didn't vote. Zambians voted. And now, look at this, you start beating each other up without understanding the full consequences that happens after elections. We need to stop this. And the only way we can stop if the president cannot stop is to remove him. We remove him, and if another president comes in, doesn't deal with the peace of the country, again, that person is removed as well.
Thank you.
We are in different countries.
Yeah, thank you for your inaugural views. Yeah, Dr. Brian Sampa, make your contribution about any of the issues, but I think the story of the day is the political violence that has got all our people, all our communities, all Zambians worried.
Well, I want to agree first with what the former PS has said. You know, it is really disheartening to see what is happening in our country. Now, to put everything into context, I just want to describe what has been going on because I've tried to understand exactly what the country has had from 2021 up to now. And in summary, this is what I found. You know, when you look at the UPND have been riding on what is known as plausible deniability, where the UPND are capable of using proxies to bring about anything they want, and then the president is going to come out as if he doesn't know what is happening. So that was very possible even the time that Edgar Lungu was alive. What they used to do was whenever Edgar Lungu is about to be arrested or they're about to go and break the door for his house, the president would make sure that is happening when he is out of the country. And people need notice that the president would travel and then the following day you hear that the police are at ECO's house. That was all planned, and it was because they wanted to exercise what is known as plausible deniability, where the president will easily deny the occurrence as not having knowledge of it or not taking part in it because he is away and he has created that distance between the event and where he is. This didn't stop even up to now. Now what is happening is that when you look at what the president is doing is that he is now exercising strategic ambiguity. So there are two things I've talked about here. There is plausible deniability and strategic ambiguity. So this is very much used in politics. In strategic ambiguity, the president, like the statement he gave, the president knows that it is his cadres who are terrorizing people. But the president gives a statement that is so vague and it doesn't point out any action that needs to be taken. That kind of statement the president gave, anybody can give that statement, but not the president. So in that statement, if tomorrow the president is asked, he will still find a way to explain what he meant. But we all know that he didn't mean to condemn his cadres. He was using terms like any political party or any political cadre. But he knew that he was supposed to talk about his cadres. If the president meant well for our country, the president was just supposed to go directly and tell his cadres to stand down because everything was captured on video. Everyone watched what happened there. The Mundubile team were on their way for their campaigns, just routine campaigns like the UPND are doing in other provinces which are deemed to be stronghold of the opposition. But unlike the way the opposition are peaceful, the UPND have always been a violent party. Why do I say so? Ambassador, when you look at what was happening prior to 2021, including the issues of gassing, the issues of people fighting and others dying, you realize that there was a lot of the same things that are happening now, but because Zambians at that time had not opened up their minds, they were believing the lies that were being perpetrated by the then opposition political parties. So they would come up with videos showcasing as if it was the ruling government who were very violent, people with pangas, and they had masks. Up to now, none of those people were identified. And that's because all those were staged occurrences and people believed all that. So when that happened, now they came into office, they believed they could rule by deception. Unfortunately, when you're in government now, people don't believe in deception. They will see you for who you are because you are the ones in power. So you've been given a lot of power such that no one is going to obscure that power. What's happening is when they go and find the opposition are helpless and they don't have any weapons. So they are the ones with power. And you can tell, look at what they did to Ndumba, the musician. Everyone was able to see the same chap who was in Mazabuka, the same chap with the same Land Cruiser, they go and appear there, they hack him, and then you look at the way everything was recorded, it's on camera. But what are we hearing now? The government, through the proxies, you've seen what Max Muwe wrote, you've seen what the other councillor from Kamwala wrote. Everyone is writing to try and distort the truth. They want to make it seem as if those people were attacked by the Tonsi Alliance, just like the mass newspaper or the news diggers, which has also written like it was a crash. All these are calculated moves. They are full of deception, and Zambians need to see them for what they are. I wonder how we could have realized who they are if there was no social media. That's why we need to appreciate the power of social media, because without social media, UPND would have been lying to Zambia from day one and no one would have realized. And indeed, the president can't condemn violence. The president is not supposed to condemn. He's got the instruments of power. He's got a word which he can just tell the IG today to arrest those people. The police know the people who are doing those things. All they need is just to arrest them. But the president, as usual, he is still going to be so ambiguous and he will pretend like he doesn't know those people, but he does know them. Because some of those people, they are together in the groups, in WhatsApp chat groups and other groups. Just like the same guy who I can't even mention here, like the former PS said, it is so disheartening. A self-proclaimed somebody who is a wizard, somebody who is not even a Christian, but calls himself a papa, and that is a person you are allowing to meddle into the country's affairs. He's so below everyone. You can't compare that person with Ambassador Mwamba. You can't compare that with the former PS. That person can't even be allowed to mingle with the lowest people in our society. But that is a man who is at the center of our policy. And he's being used by the government to terrorize the people. So whatever you hear him speak, it is the government talking through him. But it's because, like what the ambassador said, they can't say it themselves. So they need somebody who, even when they say it below the belt, people will not have that outrage because they will be like, oh, this is a foreigner saying this. But make no mistake, that guy and whatever he says comes to pass through the UPND.
Yeah, thank you very much. PS, Nachimika Tapakanwa. You can continue.
You see, what our doctor said is just the truth. You see, they shift, wanting to shift blame. Everybody could see what is happening. And then you come and say, no. It was where we have been in government. There is no one who can attack a police officer and go away with it when government is not involved. If someone attacks the police and gets away with it, someone is backing that person.
In fact, you can see the picture of the police officer bleeding. He just been hit. 3 police officers were injured.
Bamwamba, these are people that we have entrusted. We have entrusted the responsibility of enforcing the law and protecting us. And then we start to violate them in that fashion without consequences. Now, if that is done to a police officer and there are no consequences, what about an ordinary person? How safe is that ordinary person? How safe is Makebi Zulu? How safe is President Brian Mundwele? How safe are they? Now, this is what makes people now take the law into their own hands. So so I must protect myself. And when that happens, chaos ensues. And all is because of indecision. And now you see the media director and one of their supporters. No. This is staged. Are they taking people for fools? Like Abantu Tabatontonkanya, people are so dumb that they can't see what is going on. Who are you trying to fool? Why are they trying to make people look stupid? When we can see who is creating violence, who is beating who, we can see them. We are telling them stop. Lekeni, because people will defend themselves. Ngayafika past time nakati walanji paya, ishakuleke unji paye yo. I will defend myself. And in defending myself, one of the two might die. And that's why the police maintain the law and order. And you see, one of the things that the UPND government doesn't know very well, and we must tell them, you can abuse them now. You can think that they can't see what is going on. They are seeing it. They are counting. One day, you will leave that office. There were people, we were in those offices. Are we not outside those offices? It is because we did not abuse anyone. That's why we can sit down here with Ambassador Mamba and Dr. and talk the way we are talking. Because we know we did not abuse anybody. If you abuse the people, you are scared even to open your mouth. What the UPND government is doing through the cadres is very bad. It doesn't show the investor confidence. This goes direct to the investors. Yesterday, just to tell you, one of the people that I was serving with on the board is the one who sent me in fact, before I could see it online, Wamwamba, you'd be shocked that one of the people that I was discussing sent me the picture to say, you said Zambia is very peaceful. Look at what is there. I'm like, no. So I started now trying to manage my country to say,
someone you serve. PS, just a minute. Someone you serve on the board with in Canada. Maybe you should be very specific.
Yes, in Canada, actually. In Canada. He sees that and then he says, but you were telling us that, your country is very peaceful and it's good for investment. Because I was telling him that our country is very good for investment. We are so peaceful. When you take your investment there, you are protected. The government is, and I was even probably telling them more on the UPND that, actually there is an economist president right now who I think understands the investment. And then boom, I'm hit with that. What do I tell him now? What do I say? How do I promote my country that it is peaceful? How do I show that I'm proud of my country when we are butchering each other and the foreigner is at it instigating us? We beat each other up. What are we showing to our children? What are we doing to our children? Is this a good example to any of our children, any of the youths? Look at what it is so disheartening. It's so disheartening. We need to stop, and the only way we need to change government. That is the only way future government will learn. If UPND is given another mandate, I don't know if they will change. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But the indicators are that they might even be worse.
Indeed, I'll throw the question to both of you. I'm inundated by calls from family, friends, supporters, members of our parties, and they're saying, ask Brian and Makebi to come back. It's not safe. It's not worth to risk their lives like this. And I've been flipping the tables. I said, no, we should be demanding from President Hakainde Hichilema that Brian and Makebi have a fundamental right to campaign, and it is up to the president to ensure that his opponents campaign. We are a democracy. Instead of withdrawing, I know the fears, of course, life is more important, but our pressure is being misdirected onto our candidates instead of the government who swore by constitution, a president who swore by constitution to ensure that Zambia is peaceful, political and civic rights are honored and respected. And in this case, Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu should have smooth political campaigns, even in hostile areas where he perceives his stronghold.
I agree with you completely, because he can't stop campaigning, he can't stop that, because the message needs to go, his message. And you see, the people that determine leadership are Zambians. The Zambians determine leadership, and we have 90s. If Zambians choose that you are leaving, it's very rare that you can overturn that. And that is one of the things that UPND has said they've delivered on most of the things. Why are they not just focusing on the things they've delivered? Twisting and you say, oh, you have insulted us. You will see people say you are insulting. Then you ask, what have I said that is insulting in what I've said? Then nobody can give an example. And when you say what people don't like, you should not be beaten because you've said what you don't like. No, tell me the counter. Give me your proposal. And then people weigh. And then once you've sworn to the Constitution to protect it, abide by it. And this brings me to the other, where TICZ is talking about our colleague in the civil service, Tabo Kawan. Because Tabo does not understand how the civil service works. Unfortunately, he doesn't. So once he's been given a position that is way above his intellectual capacity and his education standards, he doesn't have the experience of the civil service. So even when they say, Bakangwa has tried, the Secretary to Cabinet has tried to do everything that is possible, humanly possible. But we know that when you see a permanent secretary behave the way Tabo is behaving, he's over the Secretary to Cabinet. There's nothing the Secretary to Cabinet can do to him. He can say what he wants, he can do what he wants. And that is why he becomes fearful that, oh, if President HH is not there, I have no life. No, you have to have a life. You have worked for the last 5 years. You must have a life, and a life of integrity. You are embarrassing us that have been former permanent secretaries. When people see you in us, they say these are the permanent secretaries. That's why on this platform, Bamwamba heard you. When someone comes in and insults President HH, you say, no, not on this platform, because we have to be respectful. You're not going to allow someone here to come and insult our president. No, we shouldn't allow that. But we can fundamentally differ with him. So the civil service must be depoliticized. And Tabo Kawana, we must tell you, our brother, if you're watching, stop dipping yourself in politics. When these people that pay you are people that insult, are the people that you criticize. They are the people that they are your bosses, the taxpayers. You can't eat with both hands. You can't eat in the politics and eat in the civil service. It doesn't work that way. You will be held accountable one day if you do not change that course of action. You need to stop that. Let the politicians play politics. You deal with policy and in a non-partisan way. Stop getting involved.
Indeed, TIZ is right. And let me bring in Dr. Brian Sampam. But let me play a video of Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu arriving in Mongo. And like I said, a lot of people calling us that ask them to withdraw is not worth it. But I've been saying, no, shift the issue. Yeah. The issue is the president must guarantee peace. The president must guarantee that they have a right to come in. It's one of the fundamental political and civil rights enshrined by the UN, where Zambia has acceded to. It's in our constitution. You should not fear death because you've gone into politics.
Slowly. Okay.
I love the tolerance. There's another video that has gone viral where, while they were in Kaoma, some of the people that were going after their car were chanting Zambia forward. You didn't see the security beat them up or remove them. In that video, you can see someone with a red poster. I don't know if he's socialist or UPND. And the security team for Munduvile are very polite and they don't push him or throw him out. And the supporters who are saying we want change are not beating him up. Many people don't understand what free speech and free expression means. Free expression requires that there could be something unpopular, sometimes even offensive. There could be someone who's saying some things that you do not like, you know, but like from a president here in the United States, which has been attributed to other philosophers, said, I disapprove of what you say, but I'll defend to death your right to say it or to express it. Voltaire, Evelyn Beatrice Hall, and others have been attributed to this statement. Let me bring in Dr. Brian Sampa.
So, Ambassador, coming to the question that you mentioned concerning whether BM8 should proceed or not, you know, most of the people who are talking about him not proceeding, we understand they are afraid of his life, you know, being in danger because of what is happening. But they are, you know, the way they are asking him to stop, that is not going to help matters. The person they should be directing that request to, like you mentioned, should be the president. Look, BM8 is supposed to continue. In Bemba, we say, uingira mushitu tomfwenswasa. Ndachakwa tuwaingira mushitu, and then you are paying attention to the noises because you are stepping on dry leaves. You cannot even go anywhere because you step somewhere. Kwa mfika kachongo watoroka mfomwenso. So what is happening now? This is where Munduvile will show that he's a brave person. Munduvile cannot back down. Those are attributes of a good leader. There will be bigger things that Munduvile may be faced with. This is just the beginning of his challenges. Zambia has got a lot of challenges that maybe most of the population may not even be aware of, which happens behind closed doors, of other countries trying to exert control, other countries trying to manipulate. If Munduvile can back down just because of that intimidation, then that may also signal a weakness. That's why Munduvile should be applauded the fact that even after that happened, he still went ahead and he has continued on the journey. Now, when you look at the way people received Munduvile, that could have unsettled a lot of UPND cadres, including the president, because the people didn't expect that Western Province was going to be so jubilant when Munduvile arrived. To see what happened in Kaoma, a lot of people might have been unsettled, and that's why they resorted to violence. Usually when people start resorting to violence, it means they have stopped thinking. Where the thinking stops, now violence starts. It's like what PS has said, that when some people are given positions like Tabo Kawana, it was above their intellectual capacity. And I've mentioned this several times. When you look at Tabo Kawana, he doesn't even portray himself to be a civil servant. That's because he doesn't even understand what the civil service is. These are cadres who were appointed to positions they don't even understand. And Bakangwa doesn't have any power over Tabo Kawana. That's why Bakangwa goes and has all the meetings. He could go and give the statements about permanent secretaries not being involved in politics. Tabo Kawana will go right back and talk about the same things he talks about. His shirts are written HH. His hoods are written Kwenyu. He would be moving in his office with a hood written Kwenyu and a photo of the president. When you talk about, for instance, the PS who we have right now, this PS Vakazia, nobody even knew which party belonged to, because he is a PS, and when you are a PS, you are supposed to be neutral. A PS is the highest level in the civil service. Before you can go to the secretary to the cabinet and deputy secretary to the cabinet, but once you reach the PS, that's the pinnacle. So a PS is expected to have a certain caliber. But what we have right now, the civil service is so political because the cadres are the ones holding office. The directors as well. Look at Larry Mwetwa. That is a cadre for UPND, a true cadre. Today you go on Larry Mwetwa's page. It is politics day in, day out. But he's a director. How can you have a director who is so political that how do you expect the permanent secretary in that ministry to even have any say over that director? Because that director was appointed by Hakainde. So how is he going to be controlled? How is the supervisor going to supervise such a junior who is technically a senior because they are talking to somebody who appointed the boss? So the civil service has been destroyed, and that's partly because the president did not understand what the civil service is. He comes from the private sector, but even if he comes from the private sector, he should have tried to take some time to learn how the civil service operates. But he thought it was like the private sector and just came with the same private sector mentality, and he started hiring and firing people. And in so doing, he just messed up the civil service. And at the point where we are, we need change, because if we don't have change now, by the time we have another 5 years of UPND, the entire civil service will just become a political arm of the government. And that is very dangerous. Ambassador, today, somebody sent me a screenshot of a provincial health director from Northwestern Province who went on the president's Facebook account and was praising the president as a patriot, the best president ever. That is a provincial health director. Now, these are people who we already knew that these people are cadres. And because they are cadres, the only thing they can do is to always praise their appointing authority, because they know that their appointment was not based on merit, but on loyalty. So this is bad, because now when UPND goes, it means those cadres, they will go with them. And then people will now start complaining that the government is changing civil servants, but it's because to clean up the system, you need to get rid of those cadres. And such people should not complain when in future another government says you can't continue, because they are so partial. And those are people who have been firing, demoting others based on political affiliation. So indeed, this coming 13th August election is very crucial for Zambia, because if Mundubile doesn't win, I can assure you, the retribution we are going to see now will be tenfold what we have seen from 2021. People will be arrested. People will be fired. A lot of things will happen. If it's Mundubile and the people following Mundubile, they will be in danger. They won't survive. And these are some of the things that Zambians need to know. We are being led by people who have been showing narcissistic personality traits where they can hate other people and smile. You know, the issue that made me really realize that we are having a lot of problems here, which some of them may even have some mental problems, because how can somebody die like ECL, for instance? This was the father of a nation. ECL was very humble. And then someone goes on TV and starts saying Akatumbi, laughing at the body of a dead man, laughing at the family and mocking them after ECL has died. It is inhuman, like it is unheard of. Because one thing I understand is that even if an enemy dies, a normal human being feels bad for that same enemy who has died. But narcissists, they celebrate. They are nonchalant when somebody is crying. Somebody will be crying, they are smiling, they are laughing, because they have no empathy or sympathy at all. So those are the kind of people we are dealing with, who would go and parade and say, eat your Akatumbi. Like something that is unheard of. Look, I may not have been close to ECL, but I can tell you, when ECL died, I was affected. And when ECL's body was dismembered by the government, going to steal it and dismember it, trying to doing postmortem without the consent of the government, I was hurt so much. Up to now, it still hurts. When you think about it, that is a normal human being. I don't have to be a family member to be hurt or to feel bad, because you need to sympathize with other people. But we have got people who, even right now, Kanene is in the hospital. They are laughing and they are smiling about it. You saw yesterday people throwing stones, hating the police. People are laughing at that police officer. They are saying the police officers are not doing their job. When Mundubile, if today anything bad happened to Mundubile, I can assure you, Ambassador and the PS, there will be UPND cadres who are going to come on air and start laughing. They deserve it. That's what they were going to be saying. And I tell people that today you may be supporting UPND, but you need to know, how you know a person's character is how they treat the person next to them, not how they treat you. If you, Ambassador Mwamba, you are so rude to the PS and you are insulting the PS, there is a likelihood that if I mess up, you are also going to do the same to me. The same way you are behaving to the PS, that's how you are going to do to me. The same way, when Garin Kombo was in government, he was not condemning the UPND. That's because he was not in bad books with them. Even if they were terrorizing other people, they got the parliamentary seat from Boma Lusambo. They got the parliamentary seat from Malanji. Still, he was just quiet. But now, after he fell out of favor with the UPND, they went ahead and even beat him in front of the police. And now he started crying to the people for sympathy because now he is on the other side. So that is a lesson. So for me, when people ask me about what is happening to Garin Kombo, I say it's a lesson. Because Gary Kombo now should learn that when something is wrong, you need to condemn it. You don't have to wait until it happens to you. Because from 2021, ECO's family has been terrorized by the UPND. They have grabbed property. They have insulted them. Do you remember PS and the ambassador that when ECO was being sworn in, for the first time in the life of Zambia as a country, that a president was booed when he went to hand over power? Did you see Hakainde say anything that day? No. Hakainde didn't say anything. ECO was booed so badly. And Hakainde was happy with that. That as if that was not enough. When ECO was called by the deck, when they went to Ridgeway to appear before the deck, did you see those youths, a group of youths who came singing insults at ECO? Did you hear Hakainde say anything? He didn't say anything. Not even one statement. When there were a group of youths who made a statement that they wanted to circumcise ECL if he went to Northwestern Province, did you hear anything, Hakainde saying anything? So when I hear people say, can the president condemn? Can the president do this? They say that if something looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it is a duck. Whatever you are seeing, that's Hakainde Hichilema's picture. That, unfortunately, that's the truth. Whatever you are seeing right now in the country, whatever is transpiring, that is the creation of Hakainde. Because if it was not his creation, the first day that ECL went to hand over power, Hakainde would have gotten those instruments of power from ECL. But from the time of handover of power, Hakainde was so suspicious that he couldn't even hold what was coming from ECL's hands. As if that was not enough, when they went to make peace between him and Hakainde by Bwezani, he refused to greet ECL in the hand. So today, for the same person to come and condemn violence and the hate that we are seeing in the country, this is systematic. It is where we started from a long time and we did not nip this in the bud. Now it has grown and the fruits are there. If it is a cancer, it has now metastasized. It has spread to levels where if we were supposed to do chemotherapy, now it has to be radiotherapy. Now we need to go by the most advanced treatment. And if it is a surgical procedure, now we need to do an excision where we need to cut it out and throw it away. That is the level we are at. So even asking Hakainde to change today, you are not going to, it's like you are flogging a dead horse. Because everything that's happening now is exactly his making. So what is needed now is just a change of government. That is the only solution. I can assure you, today he is promising everything he can find. He is even promising to pay people's electricity connection fees because all he wants is just to make sure that he gets back into office. But one thing is for sure, he knows he has lost. I will qualify this, Ambassador and PS. How I know that Hakainde knows he has lost is because if he knew he had won, he wouldn't be going to campaign the same places he went to more than once. He is going to those places with the hope that he can convince people. But whoever is advising him doesn't seem to understand politics because he needs to know, as a sitting president who has been in power for 5 years, people are gauging him by his works, not his words. Whatever he says holds no water because they know that he can say anything and he has a record of lying. Wherever you go, everyone knows Hakainde is a liar. So because they know he lies, he hasn't fulfilled the promises, whatever he's saying, people are not taking it seriously. If you check the comments on his page, whenever he promises, people are saying, take away the mic from this man. He is going to lie again. So the youths have seen that he's a liar. The mothers, the elderly, they have all seen that he's a liar. So he's supposed to go and count his gains, what he has done. But unfortunately, his gains are not there. When I was leaving Zambia, 1 kg of meat was 35 kwacha. Right now, 1 kg of meat is more than 100 kwacha. When I was leaving Zambia, bread was 4.5 kwacha. Now it's 25 kwacha. And then the president comes and says, oh, the economy is good. We have brought CDF. We have done this and that. So all these things are not going to help him to stay in power. But the only resort that they have now is intimidation. Because if they intimidate people in their strongholds, then they will rig the same way they have always done in their strongholds so that they can have the entire 2 million from strongholds and then they just need a few votes here and there from other places. But Zambians should not allow this and they should make sure that they guard the votes. So right now we should focus on vote guarding.
In fact, that's our next topic as led by the MAST. But there's something you want to say. You just said that our people are no longer taking the president's remarks seriously. Look at what happened in Eastern Province when there was a public rally, fully attended. And, you know, the audience was listening to your maps and others. As soon as the president began to speak, nearly, you know, half of the rally dispersed. Just look at this. So you can see
Ambassador,
half the audience walking away when the president began to speak. Clearly they had gathered for entertainment, including those that were given vitenges and t-shirt.
I want to add one thought, Ambassador, before I
discussion
forget.
point is vote protection. And there's an alert that has come from civil society leader Brebna Changala. He says Zambians be extra alert and is urging vote monitoring, beginning with the ballots that are being dispatched to districts and their distribution to constituencies later. We are only 8 days away from elections. And so we'll be discussing the issue of vote protection. And in that light, I'll bring these facts to you. Vauden Findlay, renowned Lusaka businessman, our Deputy Secretary General, and 4 persons that were sent to Russia. I think there are 4 or 5, but I have names of the people so far. Victor Muziamba, Dickson Tembo, Enoch Mwanza, and of course Kenneth Kamba, together with Vauden Findlay, remain detained. They've not been charged with any offense. For the team that went to Russia, Victor Muziamba, Dickson Tembo, Enoch Mwanza, you've seen the debate by the UPND. They're already alleging that how can, you know, Brian Mundubile send people for military training. It's not military training. VVIP protection is a civil training. That is why even the protection of the president is not with the army. It is with the VVIP unit at police service headquarters that mans the security of the president. So if Brian Mundubile, as a leader of the opposition, whose life is threatened by constant issues of violence, threats to his life, and we've seen the attacks, and you know he sends a few people for VVIP protection, how is that an offense? Victor Muziamba, Dickson Tembo, Enoch Mwanza were whisked away on their arrival at the international airport. But let's discuss this particular matter, and then I mentioned what has happened to Vauden Findlay, where they stormed his hospitality facility in Chisamba, picked him up in front of his clients and in front of his family. And they didn't identify themselves. They said they were officers from service headquarters. Later in the evenings, the lawyers found out where Vauden Findlay was, and then found him at Ibex. As soon as the lawyers appeared, these officers from service headquarters came and whisked him away, took him to Woodlands. When the lawyers again found out that he was at Woodlands, they picked him up, and overnight we don't know where Vaudem Findlay is. Literally abduction, no police statement, no nothing. But let's go to vote protection. On this program, I've been urging communities across the country to do a very simple thing. There's a register going around. Get a copy of the register. Identify your constituency, your ward, and your polling station. On the polling station, there are 900 people. 900 people on the polling station. See if you can form a committee among people of like mind. That way you'll be able to protect the vote. When the monitors and observers come, you can help them in the event that, for example, UPND wants to attack them or remove them. If the community is there, we've seen the community is the biggest buffer to any acts of violence from the UPND. What has saved Brian Mundwile in many instances is that they've been members of the public that have been around and they've acted as a buffer. If you are there at the polling station, identify your polling station, form a polling station committee. It's not too late. But in each polling station, there are 13,529 polling stations. Each polling station has 900 people. Pari abo 900, tapari abo wishive of like-minded Zambians form a committee. And on the day of elections, on 13th August, mwaitanana mafoni or mwayakumayanda, because you are in one community. Mwayatantama mwa voter. And after the voting, you stay outside the polling station, 100 meters away from. So you're observing everything that is happening. Team, as you look at vote protection, there is an announcement that was made by the president that is very alarming. He said the UPND will be cooking at every polling station. Now, this is an act of bribery. This is an act of corruption. There's another matter. We've understood from very reliable sources that ZNS and the correction facility, Kalonga Milling and Eagle Milling, are milling unbranded milling meal. What is it for in this time? Who do they want to give it to? It's part of the corruption. Mwe bantu bakwalesa wasata wale batinga mwafi monefyo mwapoka fienu, but I'll be inviting you make these comprehensive remarks from the president, calling students at State House, where we saw the service commission from ZNS, the ZNS commander, address a political rally, where we saw the president increase accommodation allowance from 3,000 to 5,000, as if he runs a university, as if he's a chancellor, as if he's a manager of the university, or as if he's, he heads the loans board. He unilaterally increased the amount to 5,000. All these are elements of vote bribing. I want you to be comprehensive as we discuss vote protection. Vote protection is far broader than just what happens on 13th August. Let me just play for you the ZNS commander addressing a rally, something unheard of. Do I have that video? Just a minute. Let me just look for that video briefly.
Get the truth about the sanitation at University of Zambia, and also how your people you call friends for Bari are staying. Mr. President, when you called for that meeting, I remember I raised my hand to give a contribution, and you told me, no, General, I've not called you to say anything here, but I've called you to give you instructions. And Mr. President, on that day, you gave me instructions that we have received a report from the university management, but I want you to go hostel by hostel. And Mr. President, I did exactly like that. And I reported back to you about the true situation of the University of Zambia. And from there, Mr. President, you asked me to take full charge. And afterwards, you were not sleeping. Each time in the night around 01, you'd ask me, how is the situation? Mr. President, I want to report back to you that following your instruction, your meticulous follow-up to ensure that the work is correctly and prudently done. Today, the University of Zambia, there are no issues of sanitary problems, Mr. President, or of sanitation. What we have now, Mr. President, is through you, sir, that we continue maintaining the sanitation at the university. Mr.
PS, let's start with you. What are your views on vote protection and all attendant issues occurring during this period?
By the way, Brian had one last comment. I think you cut him short. He didn't finish that. Maybe you can let him finish that.
Wow. These two civil servants are looking for each other. Dr. Brand-Sampa, did I cut you? Please finish your thought before we go to the other matter.
Yeah, so I think what I wanted to talk about is what we are going to talk about now. So maybe we can let the ambassador speak because it will still be a long one. Oh,
PS, no, I understand. I cut him. No, I cut him deliberately. I said that matter you want to go to of vote protection is a topic on its own, and it is just to that extent. So please pick up from there.
Okay. So for me, I think I would try to be quick, and then I want to hear a detailed one from Dr. Brand-Sampa. So the thing that I see around the issues of voter protection and the happenings, at times the violence that you see could be a distraction. Start violence, let people focus on discussing violence. Meanwhile, the ardent questions about the voters and the processes, the ballots and others remain under the radar. And that's when they do wrong things. Usually, that's when they do wrong things. Just distract your attention. You're talking about violence. Meanwhile, you lose grip on looking at what is actually happening in terms of the transparency, in terms of where the ballot papers are, what is happening. I saw a video which was talking about ballot papers that were not properly sealed. And I could see the DC, I think, was struggling to actually explain himself around the issues to do with why ballot papers were transported without a seal in the container. So those are some of the moments that require critical questioning of whoever is involved in the movement of the ballot papers. I definitely agree with you, Ambassador, that voter protection committees at the polling stations must be established. But one of the things that is likely also to happen, you have seen how they can use violence to disrupt the processes. This violence that you see can extend to the voting day, where people become disruptive and instill fear in people not wanting them to go vote. But Zambians have a chance, and they must demand that no one stands in the way of them exercising their democratic right. And the issue of cooking at the polling stations is something that is so dangerous. So dangerous. Who are they going to be cooking for? The UPND members? If NPRPUP members say we are also going to start cooking on the other side, the chances of clashes are likely to happen. And it is in the midst of these clashes that we're going to see very big distortions and very big problems around the voter protection and also around the ballot handling. There will be definitely, if they are going to take unbranded mealie meal, it will be a form of vote buying. You go and vote, show us, and then come and get mealie meal here. We can't allow our democracy to be treated that way. If people do not stand up to stop vote manipulation, it will be a very sorry sight after the elections. People that win that way have no obligation. If someone buys you, he gives you a bag of mealie meal, how are you going to hold them accountable when they don't provide for you? People have the power within themselves. Let's organize. Let people organize at polling stations and just make sure that the right things are done. And this time, there's social media. You have your phone. Your phone is the most powerful tool that is actually in Zambia right now. When you see things that you do not appreciate, things that are wrong, pick up your phone, put on record. Pick up your phone and record. The issue of saying, oh, you need consent. You don't need consent where there is crime. When crime is being committed, a criminal cannot say, I'm seeking for consent. Like it has happened in one of the cases that we have seen, where people are planning to actually destroy our democracy, and the person who exposes them is the one who ends up getting arrested. When you look at the VIP, I don't know if I would be right to go back into the VVIP protection.
Yes.
Yes. Ambassador, people, and I don't even know how we can seek so low, how the government can seek that low. It's like you go for a course, like people can do police foundations course. They are given everywhere in most of the countries. It is just to make sure that those people that are trained even know how to handle people that will just have a different opinion, people that can case at the president. To know that there could be emotions that would be with people. You don't need to beat them up. You need to control. And also when there is danger, how do you behave when there is danger to the person you're supposed to protect? There's nothing special. It's making this thing very, very big. And that's why, if these people really were going to be mercenaries, do you think they will come through the airport really trained and come back and say, oh no, we are back, we're going to be trained in mercenary activities? It doesn't work that way. We are just showing ourselves. I don't even know how I can describe it. This is a basic foundations course, basic, simple course about VVIP protection. It's a very simple course. You can go online and check, the information is there, but only that there are special schools that go slightly in detail than what is there. It's not to create mercenaries. People start disappearing. You find Finlay, it disappears. You know, in Bemba Turandati, wow, me never believe. Actually, uta ukwete mulandu. Efiraba basampa bakiranda ukwebati ero baletakanya abantu bagadi baletamba basa abatakanya na bena. What happens? Look at how the people that were perceived to have been voted against the Bill 7 have been treated. Basamakai and others. They were in parliament. And now he's telling us, I sacrificed. Look at what I'm being paid. We universally have to say no. If one person becomes too big for the country, such that he stops listening, we must remove that person. If we don't do that, we will create monsters that will start eating us. Filabarandati, when the hyena wants to eat his children, it accuses them of smelling like goats. These people that are within UPND that do not agree with this, they need to stand up and say, but President, the route you're taking is not right. If you do not, the time will come when you want to come and change, then you'll be accused to be opposition, the way it has happened to other people. They've been accused to be members of opposition now that they have fallen out of favor. President Church has said it. He is going after Gary Nkombo if he wins. He has said it. He didn't even hide it. I'll go. There are so many people he's promised to go after. But Mr. President, that is not why you were elected. You were elected to protect us. If we were criticize right now, it is your responsibility to protect us. That is why you are president. But when you refuse to do that aspect, you must say, I can't say anything. He is systematically destroying our democratic processes. And there are people that have no capacity whatsoever to sit down and advise the president. Do you think whenever Marxist Mwe can advise the president against something? At how if by M23, they can say, let the voters decide. Did you see the arrogance of Gilbert Liswaniso when he was being interviewed by IP?
Correct.
He was just, like the voters don't matter. Oh, let's so the president. How do we allow a person to get to that level of disrespecting the voters?
No, Gilbert is very clear. He says Ichilema mpaka 2041. So it's like the voters do not matter. That elections are just a procedure. They are not even a matter that you should worry about. He's very confident that Ichilema mpaka 2041. So it's like, what then will we be doing on 13th August?
No, but that is where the source of concern is. Ngana wish what vaichilema mpaka 2041. Landa ifintu ifyala mbuku tuwafuilisha. Okay, ichi mpaka 2041. This is the plan that the president has. Stick to your plan. Don't appease voters by telling them mpaka 2041 mrefuata mrefuaya. That kind of arrogance should not be there. There must be respect for the procedures that we've set up for ourselves. When people say no, it is a no. When they say yes, it is a yes. How come fukamina ma votes bamupera all of a sudden mwachinja, you swap roles, you start becoming the bosses? We can't have that. And I'm glad that President Munduvile and the Vice President Makendu Zulu, they are very straight on that. And the focus is on the Zambians. When people don't focus on the Zambians, That is what they will say. Kulanda what you own them. You own them. You own them. You will respect other people from somewhere who should tell you that, oh, now it's over. No. Focus on the Zambians. Focus on making this country, Zambia, this country great. Not village TK.
Thank you very much. I'll bring in Dr. Brian Sampa on vote protection, the subject I said you should make your remarks on. Then after Dr. Brian Sampa has given his views, I'll invite a few of you to quickly call, you express yourselves or provide questions, and then we begin to close. You've muted yourself, I think. Did you mute yourself? Did you mute? Yeah. All of a sudden, you are muted, my dear brother. Let me just give you a moment. Yeah, what you can do is come out and then come in again. Yeah, I think let's give him time. Just kindly come out and come in. Sometimes the network.
You hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I was saying that I want first to concur with what the PS said. You see, the people who are surrounding the president are not meant to advise the president. They are meant to follow the president. Because to start with, for someone to be a praise singer, it takes a lot. It takes you to kill your free will to be able to reason. And that's why most of these people you are seeing who are following the president, they are praise singers. They have no divergent views whatsoever. When the president speaks, they amplify whatever the president said. And they have no remorse towards that. So when you see, there's a saying that says, when you see two thieves fighting, then it means one of them has gotten a bigger share. That doesn't mean the other one is not a thief. They are thieves, but one of them has gotten a bigger share, and that's why they are fighting. So you as an individual who is passing by, you can't support any of them. You are just supposed to take action on both of them. That is what we are seeing under UPND. When you see a UPND member being arrested, that doesn't mean they have arrested them because they did something wrong. It means usually there is a dispute in their internal affairs. Like what we are seeing now, the issue of Yui, the issue of Garin Combo, they are internal issues that they disagreed upon, and that had nothing to do with the welfare of the Zambians. So when you see anything that makes UPND seem like they're doing something about corruption or anything, just know that it's just their personal fights. That's why I always try not to even side with any member of such people, because they are both from the same team and it's a family affair. So Zambians need to just make sure that on 13th August, they remove these people from office. Now, to remove these people, we need to understand the stages of rigging, because there are 3 stages. Elections can be rigged by pre-electoral rigging. That's where you rig elections before the elections, or you can rig intra-election, during the election, or post-electoral. So which means after the election, you can still rig. Now, in pre-election rigging, that's where the president is using this time before elections to try and manipulate people. How is he doing so? He's doing so by, when he goes for rallies, he's promising jobs and he's employing people instantly. So the first thing the president is doing is all nurses and unemployed teachers should come, and anyone who is unemployed. When they come there, he'll be like, I'm employing you now. He knows that between now and next week, the process of employment won't happen. So in order for that employment to be realized, these people must vote for him so that next month he is still president to actualize that kind of employment. Because that kind of employment is just on paper until after a month. That's when the process may finish. The president is well aware of that, and the people he's employing are well aware of that. So he's actually telling them that vote for me so that these things can actually happen. So he's giving them a promissory note just to say, I'm offering you a job, but this job, you can't get it today. When you vote for me, then you will have for sure this job. So that is number one. That is how the president is manipulating the votes, and that is electoral malpractice. He has been to most places saying he has employed nurses. Now he has even started employing teachers. When he was in Katete, he said, I've employed everyone here who is unemployed, every teacher and every nurse, which is very wrong. And we've been condemning this for some time now. And the Electoral Commission is very quiet about this vote buying, because there's no difference between this one and giving millimil to someone to come and vote for you. Secondly, the president and his people have been going around. We've got reports. We've got reports of a plane that is flying from province to province with the Electoral Commission, and they are doing certain things which only God knows. That is also pre-election kind of, manipulation of elections. We also have got information about how they are training certain people who are going around. I don't know if Ambassador you heard under the PS that, can you imagine that when they were teaching, they were doing voter education on the Copper Belt. The example they were using was one of the political parties they were using as an example had salt in them. There was a name that had salt something, salt seller or salt something, but there was salt in it. So it made people start questioning that, why are you trying to teach us to be thinking about salt sana? So they knew that at the back of their minds, the UPND knew that they were supposed to make people have this subconscious teaching about salt sana slogan, but they were doing it subtly, like in a manner that somebody who is unsuspecting cannot even notice. So when they were teaching these people, they were telling them, oh, you've got two political parties. One is salt something and the other one is what? So then they will put something else that is not related to Mundubile. If they put maybe salt something and Kendo, then you can say, oh, they are talking about these two political parties. But they will include salt and something which is not there. Now, that is another way they have been going around to teach people and subconsciously try to, condition people to think about their slogans and everything. They went ahead. When they were trying to educate the people, the Electoral Commission started using red color so much, and the colors of the UPND. People even started questioning that, when did the Electoral Commission start using these colors so much in whatever they are doing? Everything was red. So they know that the red is the color for the UPND. And they continued doing that. They have been doing it from the time this Electoral Commission started educating people. At one time, there was so much backlash that they had to give a statement, and they withdrew certain things that they had put on their page. All these are things that they are doing pre-election. And the other thing is, they are making preparations now for intra-election. So intra-election, that is now during the election. One of the things people do during elections is stuffing of votes. So you remember the video that resurfaced, which was done in on the southern province, where there were people who were physically marking they were marking the ballots and then stuffing them, then later to be counted together with the ones that were voted for by the people. That is during the election, and they are preparing such people up to now. But in order to achieve intra-election rigging, you need to make sure that you only have people who are coming from the same party around that area. So how do they achieve that? They chase everyone else who is with an opposing view, and they do that through intimidation. In Southern Province, they make sure that if you belong to an opposition party, they will beat you up. They will make sure that you are not supposed to be near the polling station, and they remain alone so that they can do the staffing and everything. So the only way people can defend, first, let me classify them, then I'll talk about the defense, how it should be done. So they do that, and then they will staff. After they staff, then they will count together with the other votes. That is during the election. The other thing that they do during the election is, Electoral Code of Conduct is very clear. There is no political regalia which is supposed to be present there. There is no political symbolism which is supposed to be available. But the president has gone ahead and said they are going to be cooking. And they have said the UPND will be cooking. Anyone who will be cooking there, people will know this is the UPND, and they will identify them as UPND, even if they won't be in political regalia. Now, like what the PS has said, for somebody to be given that in Shima, they will be required to vote. It has happened before. We've heard of that, where some people were cooking and then they told people, for you to eat this in Shima, first show us proof that you voted for someone who we want you to vote for. So that is also intra-election. That is also how they want to go ahead and rig. There is staffing, there is also the cooking that they want to do, and the people that they are training. What they have also done is this. They have trained people in rural areas who they are saying, these people, when somebody comes to vote, there are people who don't know how to read, and they are supposed to be assisted. Now, that's where the problem is. If those people who are going to be there are UPND operatives, they are not going to show someone to vote for someone apart from the UPND. That is something else that they are doing. No wonder you've seen that the people they are training are only those people who are aligned with the party. We had an incident recently in Chingola where people had applied, and yet people who just applied in the morning, they were just told, go and apply and you'll be given the slots, and they were given the slots. They didn't even have to write the exams. Now, post-electoral, that's where now people try to manipulate. Now, in Zambia, it's very difficult to manipulate post-election because once the elections are announced at the center there, just at the polling station, people are able to add each polling station by another and find the total. So even if you try to manipulate at the totaling center, people can easily catch you because the Gen 12 will always be there, and people will see when the returning officer comes and says, oh, at this polling station, the winner is this one. So people can actually tabulate that. So that one is difficult. Now, when you look at the other methods we've talked about, people should make sure that during this period, like what the president has done, that is one thing I wanted to forget. Pre-election, what the president has done also is that he goes and tells the students that I'm going to increase your meal allowances. This is a president who has been with them for the past 5 years. This is something he could have done even in January. He could have done it last year or another year. But he did it intentionally just a few weeks before the elections. And he didn't end there. Yesterday I was reading that they're about to pay them the difference in the same accommodation allowance. Now, one tends to wonder, you see, the University of Zambia is just opening. The classes will be starting next week. I was looking at their calendar. And then when you look at this, when you look at this calendar where they have just opened, and then the president has just increased their accommodation allowance, why are they paying them the difference? Why are you paying them the difference? Why are you backdating? Because the president now wants to give these people money before elections. And as we are talking, they are preparing the payment, which is the difference from the money they used to get. So they're about to pay them. And in case you didn't hear this, Ambassador, that is what is going on. The students are about to be paid that difference. So this difference is about to happen now, and it is just a way of trying to reward the students so that those students should vote for UPND. Because again, the president goes further and says, if you don't vote for me, these people are coming and removing this. Now, the president is doing the quid pro quo. These people have to do something for him to do something for them, which is not supposed to be the case. So how do we fight this? To fight this, we just need to advise the same students. What people need to realize is this. Students are not educated people. A lot of people make a mistake. They say, those are very educated people, they are making sound decisions. No, students are not educated people. They are getting an education. Some of them will come out of that place well educated. Others will come out schooled. Now there's a difference. So students are easily gullible. That's why politicians manage to do this. Now with the UPND, systematically what they have been doing is in all universities, whenever there's an election, they sponsor someone. So these little people you are seeing running around as presidents and vice presidents of associations and the organizations in universities, they were sponsored by UPND to run and they won. UPND is so petty that in Mulungushi last year, there was supposed to be an election, and when somebody they didn't like won, they had to cancel the election. They told the university to cancel the election, and they held fresh elections, and they voted for someone they wanted. So these are the ones now you are seeing chanting their slogans because they are UPND press singers. They put them there. No wonder they are able to organize a few students and add cadres to just put the optics that there are a lot of students who are marching to State House. So these cadres who are now in the uniform of students, who are heading the institutions, they are the ones who are organizing students and trying to do the bidding for the government. But what we need to know is this: they don't control the thinking and the voting of those students. So now, what I'll tell the students is this: you are still getting educated and you are learning a lot of things about life. If today these students go ahead and vote for Hakainde, the truth of the matter is that these problems we are facing now, where Hakainde didn't even tell the students that they stopped employing. From that time, he employed the 11,000. These employments which are happening now are just replacements. They are not creating any new positions. So, if, for instance, Hakainde was to win, and they are already employing, they said 2,600, these 2,600, they will employ probably 100 doctors, maybe 1,000 nurses, not even 1,000, maybe 500 nurses. Now we've got more than 30,000 unemployed nurses. We've got more than 3,000 unemployed doctors, more than 14,000 unemployed clinical officers. We've got more than 100,000 unemployed teachers. This is a man who hasn't told you what he is going to do for you after the elections. All he has said is, vote for me because I'll give you meal allowance. But remember, this is temporal. Whatever you are getting as a meal allowance, it's just for the duration of your stay at the university. And that is a loan for that matter. So since it is a loan, you will be required to pay it. And you will be required to pay it regardless of how long it takes you to start a job. Even if it takes you 20 years, you will still need to pay. Then you've got a man by the name of Mundubire who has said, because I know that the jobs are scarce in our country, and most of you completed a long time ago, we are going to put a cap at how long somebody should stay jobless and still pay the tuition fee that we paid for them. He says, I'm going to forgive the tuition fees for those who have stayed longer without employment. Who can you choose? Somebody who has just added the 1,800 to your allowance, and somebody who says, if you don't get employed, I'm going to forgive you. So you students need to think critically. You've got a chance. You've got an opportunity. No one should make you feel like if you don't vote for them, then whatever they have implemented won't happen. No. Zambia is a country run by the constitution. These are constitutional office orders. So they are not going to change the constitution. So you can get those things, have the meal allowance, but still go and vote for Mundubire. Then when you talk about protection of the votes on the day of voting, we expect that the opposition, especially those people aligned with Mundubire, they must make sure that when the voting is done, they shouldn't leave. They should linger around. And all the voters, they shouldn't just let those people who've been appointed to remain there because they may be overpowered and chased. Once they are removed from there, they will remain and do the staffing. They will remain and do anything they can do. So every individual is going to vote must not leave. They must remain near. If they want, they can go home and eat and come back before 18 because the polls will close at 18. So that by 18, everyone is there to ensure the counting is being done in a transparent manner. The other thing is, after the polling is done, those who will be inside, they should make sure that indeed the counting, the votes which are being counted should be counted. They shouldn't increase the number of damaged votes because sometimes what these people do is they will increase the number of damaged votes in the stronghold of the opposition so that they disadvantage the opposition. So those who will be there to observe, they need to make sure that they do all they need to do. Right now, the church has got needs observers. The political parties need observers. So if you don't fit in the political sect, you can approach the churches like the Catholic. They need observers. You can go as an observer through the church. So you can do the affiliation now and be part of the team. Because I can assure you, the Zambia's election this year is different from other elections. It's very crucial. It's a choice between democracy and dictatorship. You have seen how the laws have been abrogated. The president himself is abrogating the laws with impunity. Even as we speak, all the things that he's doing, the things we've mentioned right now, he has been abrogating the law. So what will happen in the second term when there is nothing to lose? Because in the second term, he won't fear anything. But Mundubire has provided an alternative. So all I can say is that let's make sure we protect the vote. People have been calling me, asking me that we need to talk about this so much because voter protection is the most important thing which is remaining right now. We know Mundubile has won and is going to win because of the way things are on the ground. So let's protect that vote. Let's be there. Let's not leave, and let's ensure that when we vote, we can go home, prepare, and come back before 6. And those who will be counting, be vigilant. And we need a lot of people to protect the vote in Southern, Western, and Northwestern. We know that we may not win, Mundubile may not win these provinces, but he needs votes from there. But there will be upsets. You see, when you look at Southern, when there are people there monitoring, what will happen is that they are not going to manipulate and have 90% and 100% turnout, where they just say, oh, if the polling station has got 34,000 voters in a constituency, then they'll say, we are going to give Hakainde 33,000 and we give Mundubile 200. We don't want that thing to happen. The only way that happens is because there is no one to monitor. There is no way you can have 100% turnout. We've seen this happen several times in Southern Province. So we need our people in Southern Province and other places. And like the PS said, the phones are your assets. Make sure you have got these phones fully charged with power banks. Record everything that will be happening there, because we will need that evidence. And when that all that is done, again, make sure you are careful, because these people have shown that they are able to kill for that. Kungo died just for merely taking the food to the people. He was who were the polling agents. So you need to be very careful. In case of anything, make sure you record, but protect yourself. Take yourself out of danger, because these elections will be very bad, especially in places where the UPND are have the stronghold. They are going to be very dangerous. So we need our people to be very, very careful. We don't want to lose lives.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me open the phone lines. Yes, PS.
Mama, but before you opened up, I wanted to just add one or two things on one, the recruitment of the political platform, you know, where the president just says, oh, nothing changed. So I tend to concur with Dr. Brian Sampa on that those are, I think, are just gimmicks. We have seen how difficult it is in public service to employ. There is no budget line. I don't remember where there were a budget line that was done. That system is a political appeasement kind of arrangement. And it really must be stopped. It's just abusing that kind of platform. And secondly, all the issues to do with the students. You know, the first economic lesson that everyone learns is that where is the budget? Where is the appropriation? What is the implementation plan? If today the president is going to say, oh, give them the money, which budget has this money been sitting on? To say that it is going to be sustained. If it is not just for political expedience, that okay, now Nam PNP about to ask Mpoka, therefore vote for me, like Dr. Brana said. The strategy is that, you know, we are turning the students from critical thinking through research and development into praise singers. We have been students at the University of Zambia. In case, you know, that's why we can speak confidently about these things. We have been there. So there's nothing that people will tell us, I don't know, probably we were there. And we understand what goes on in the university. This is the most that I've seen students being used. There's no one asking if these promises that have been done were budgeted for. What is the financing model? What is the implementation timeline? How will Parliament appropriate these funds if they've already been appropriated that they're going to be used? Now, you remember Ngakwa Viva, the way they were doing Ngakwa Viva. Oh, Kasendena mabas bambu kumforesha mani. Mwariforele ko shiraba Mumbai. When the university is closed, the university is closed, you go line a pump for the change the Rama Polisha, Mwana bus, Pamonoku for 3 times, you are not leaving. This is not sustainable. It's woodwinking the students. It is not right. It's not right. Then the other one is Dr. Chelwa. I don't know if we're going to discuss that one today, but I was very impressed with him. And I will not to discuss on the Mopani, the mines, and what they've done. You know that
I can throw it in. Dr. Griff Chelwa, we did a special broadcast of his appearance on Hot FM, and he's written a book that IMF does more harm to Africa. It strangles Africa, and he has laid out how it does. And the book is being launched in Johannesburg and in Zambia. And he is coming on this platform on Monday, but we aired yesterday, and it's part of the narrative in the media. Even on EMV, we've carried his view. So you are at liberty to comment.
I am so impressed with the way he analyzed it. And the flow of the questions to him is what I like the responses. And particularly what I was impressed with him was the way he unbundled facts. And one of the questions that got me interested and which I would comment on was the issues to do with the investor confidence or the international confidence and things like that, if they've ever created jobs and things like that. He answered to the negative, that these investors, that's what we're talking about, confidence, they don't. And for instance, in the mines, do you know, Mwambani, doctor, that since Mopani came in from 2009 to date, there has been 6,000 jobs that have been lost. 6,000. 33%, 38% of the jobs. So they don't create jobs. And you see, they even when they bring these jobs, that they are skewed towards the foreigners. The foreigners get millions of kwacha, millions of dollars, I should say. I had a chance to look at the pay systems in the mines. It is disheartening, and that is why we amended the law, the employment code number 3, where we talked about equal work and equal pay of work of equal value. That law is there now, and I hope that it should be able to be enforced even as the government is changing. Because we had a case where, I will not give you the exact, I'll just give you a range so that you know that what I'm discussing. There was a company that had, I will not mention the company, but it's one of the mines. It had 160 people, expatriates. They were getting more money than 7,200 Zambians put together. That is how bad it is. And outside that, when they get this money, they externalize, they go into South Africa, form companies, come back and be suppliers. So for me, I was very impressed when Honorable President Brian Mundubile talked about that. We need to look at that, and I hope we can actually find a way to fix that.
Thank you, PS. We have our first caller on the line, and for those that wish to call, please call right now. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution.
Hello, Mwamba Mwashubukeni, Katushinga Kachelo, Kuno Kachelo.
Mkwa Mwashubukeni, mwantu wa kualesa.
Thank you so much. Mwamba Nvoba Nshilumbulo.
Indeed.
Yeah, tufika hapa hisana Well, I've been quite attentive, to listen to the two ministers, on the panel, and they've actually discussed about some important issues that each and every one of us, who is meaningful to our country, can follow up. Echo nalayambirira ko bamwamba nalayambirira na basiya wano begeni nande ko mukibemba basiya wano konso ko mulimu alishire ekibemba. I'm touching on the road show. Na bakita sana kondemu sebati tabafira okita road show. Lero echo ndiye kulamba bali basiya wano Siawani, you are very down, very much down that I don't even know if you reached up to grade 7. Huku Nigeria waikala. Road show, it's actually something which should happen. Kumulandu wakwe bati, bamundu bire, tabalenda nendeke. Bali pamusebo. Ero kalenda ya bamundu bire nali ngona pali ba road show. Bali pamusebo. No mbayi wa ule chita pretend ukabati wafuli yokuba pamusebo. Uli fontini sana. Chita wafuli yokuba pamusebo chinshi. Kabenda nendeke. Bakateka besu balenda nendeke. So ingoba Siawani muicheme okoko muri. Muicheme. Ero do not try and put your foot in Zambia. Ukesa alapiwa. Pali Siawani wapula mwamba. Coming to university students, Bamwamba University Tayakwata 2 students. Hello, I concur with one of the ministers who said that when you are a student, you are a learner. You are learning. You come out from that learning. You come out with knowledge. I'm a student. If we're in Nalikwata, I'm a relative of Papa University. They won't say, tulabafunda. Abama students, bafuma mayanda yabantu. Tabafuma ku group yabakateka you. Bafuma mayanda yabantu. There are so many students who are against everybody kwishiba. So tetulabachite manipulate na babapere fine it's okay. Coming good voter protection, if you are cooking, I do very much agree with ministers. Cooking, it's a very big distraction. They will distract people because of the cooking. So sana. Ichakulekeresha na isakudi ba counterpart bakateka besu. Abama counterpart bakateka besu. Eva chita mislead inform yesu. Bali bachita sana mislead kulandu wakwe bati. Vena bale chita protect abene beka. Ukwe bati ngabaluso bubuteko tabaka kwate filefifulo efyo bakwete. Eva alufianya n'inform yesu. Pantu muntu fya umofe mpum. Etale tingule fintueka. Ababe nyaba wachisasana umyama. Bantu abalisana. Bantu abalitababa winu. Ewa chakulekeresha. Na isa kudi diswaniso. Diswaniso wadi wa selfish. Movie. Ewa papa diswaniso wadi. Nokututuma wali tutuma. Na resho nogishu bati fintu. Kafiweme. Ero na tumfa fintu filechitika. Vale pita mumbali. Vale landaga bantu. Baleranda nabantu atimukanga fuirisheko alino omwenso efontini olisoniso efontini ni dedi nedika kuna ku dentist uko na peleva munda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, Cora, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good morning, Mwamba, and good morning, the people of the panel.
Good morning.
This is Anonymous from the AI.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
Yesterday I was following up some activities on social media, and there was a gentleman who was speaking from Wapula. He raised concerns over the transportation of ballot papers to say the ECZ is using one truck, for example, from Lusaka to distribute in the entire Wapula up to maybe Chiengi. And now the gentleman's concerned that if the truck starts from Lusaka and then it reaches Sanfia, it goes to Sanfia, they distribute Mansa and all the districts within Wapula. When they're looking at the time now of what time will it reach Tiengi, for example, and on the way, what are the safety or security measures that they have taken into consideration? And also maybe phrase the number of trips that the president is flying to say, why can't the ECZ use the same helicopters or the same planes that the president is using to distribute these ballot boxes or ballot papers to these far-flying areas? I'm like using one truck from Lusaka to Chiengi and dropping all the way. So I don't know if that's true, but I'd like maybe the panel to respond and then I hear feedback from them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There are two questions and contribution around CR1 and the issue of vote protection, where one vehicle is the one transporting material as you head. TIZ has also issued their own concerns around ballot security and voters' cards.
TIZ election monitors have received reports alleging that members of the United Party for National Development, UPND, have been collecting voters' card numbers and national registration card details from members of the public in Lwangeni district in Eastern Province, Zambezi and Mwinilunga districts in Northwestern Province, Mansa district in Wapula Province, Monze district in Southern Province, and Kasama district in Northern Province, among other locations. While TIZ continues to monitor and verify these reports, the practice in the districts where it has been observed has generated concern among citizens regarding the purpose for which this information is being collected. The secrecy of the ballot is one of the cornerstones of any democratic election. Therefore, any practice that creates the perception that a person's vote can be tracked, can be monitored, or can be linked to information that is being collected by political actors has the potential to undermine public confidence in the entirety of the electoral process. Beyond electoral integrity, the collection of personal information during campaigns also raises important questions regarding privacy, informed consent, and the protection of citizens' personal data.
Thank you, team. Those are the issues any of you can go through, can go at it. The matter coming from our callers and TIZ's concerns. This has to do with vote protection, ballot security, voters' card security. Is everything that doesn't undermine our electoral process.
Now, Brian, go ahead.
So, okay, thank you. So when you look at what the first caller said, the first thing I'll tackle is the road shows. You see, Ambassador, like we said earlier, whatever you are hearing CR1 talk about, it is the government speaking. So remember that there was a time when Munduvile was harassed by the police in Lusaka, and the reason they gave was that roadshow was not part of the program. These are the same words we have heard coming out of somebody else. So this is the same government trying to justify what happened. So the thing is this, roadshows, when they tell you that you are going to campaign in Eastern Province or Western Province as it were, they don't prescribe how you will do your campaigns. If you want, you can go to door to door. If you want, you can just be on bikes, talking and meeting people. If you want, you can be on the market. If you want, you can do roadshows. Nobody restricts what activities can be undertaken. If you want, you can just go and be on radio. You just be on radio the whole day you are campaigning. So to say that the roadshows were not part of the ECZ calendar, indeed, it shows ignorance on the part of the person who was saying that, because these activities are supposed to be determined by the political parties themselves. Secondly, when you talk about UNZA students, indeed, there are a lot of students at UNZA. But you see, we also need to agree to the fact that those people you saw going to State House, the students were even less than a quarter of those, because most of the people there were just mere cadres. They got a few students, and most of them were cadres from Kalingalinga and other places. We had
the population at the University of Zambia.
So the population at the University of Zambia, there are 35,000 students enrolled. But now that 35,000 students, we've got 17,000 plus who are on bursary, and those 17,000 plus, that includes those from first year up to the last year, which is 6th year now for medicine. And then we've got about 3,000 plus first years who were given the bursaries. Now, among the population, there is only 4,100 plus of those who are accommodated at the university. So when you look at that number, it means everyone from those 4,100 went that side to State House. And again, we can say, okay, it means even those who live in boarding houses, they also left the boarding houses and went to go that side. The other thing is this, it's not possible that all the students agree with the president. It is not possible. In fact, the most diverse place you can find in any country, it's a university. The universities are very diverse. That's why even revolutions were starting in the past from universities. Universities have never traditionally been part of the government. They never agree with the government. So We may have union leaders who were inserted in by the government, but when you look at those numbers that you saw there, there were thousands of people who were marching. Because when you look at the pictures, those were thousands of people. And to say all of them were students, it meant that the entire university was wiped out. Now remember, the students, when you look at their calendar, which I was looking at yesterday, the classes were starting this week. So meaning that last week other people were very busy, others that's when they were reporting. So is it possible that everyone had to leave whatever they were doing and went to State House? The answer is no. Most of those people are not students. And I was at UNZA myself. I know how it used to play out. There were times even during Bwezani's time in 2011, before the elections, the MMD would come, buy a few students, buy them alcohol, and it was just a few students who we knew were so loud they were drunkards. They would buy them, and then they go and get a lot of people from Kalingalinga, and those are the people who are going to be paraded in regalia, and they will pretend to be MMD. And Bwezani came and lost. And the other thing is this. What the president has done is exactly Bwezani's script. Bwezani increased our meal allowances in the same month of elections. I remember very well, we used to get about 121,000 kwacha per month for meal allowance. Bwezani increased it to 450 the same month before elections. And when he increased it, the same week, we got paid. And we got paid a backdated amount. I remember people got paid more than 1,000 because they backdated. The same thing that the president is doing. And whoever is advising him, or if it is him just studying the past, he's just lying to himself because this doesn't change the mindset. We all celebrated. But did Bwezani win? No. Bwezani lost at UNZA. Bwezani even lost at the State House. Now that tells you something. This is the same trend that we are seeing now. The president is following that script and is indeed going to lose. Nothing is going to change here. This is nothing that is going to change how people have decided all this while. And then when we talk about the counterparts misleading the president, I always bet to differ with people who say the president is being misled. The thing is this. When you look at the people who the president has appointed, are you telling me Gito can advise the president? Are you telling me Max Mui and other people can advise the president? The answer is no. Just like he had the other guy who he has sent to Tanzania who was the spokesperson. Those people wouldn't advise the president. The thing is, those people, what they are there for is just to fill those gaps and to parrot whatever the president says. So we shouldn't take the blame away from the president and say other people are responsible by misleading him. No. To start with, this is a president who cannot even be misled because he's very controlling. So he's the one who decides everything that happens. So we shouldn't blame other people. It is him who is doing this, and it is the president who should be held accountable for everything. Because remember, if at all it was about advice, the president himself knew very well that he was supposed to leave a State House. This is a president who has spent the entire time of his office living at home, upgrading his home. You know, when you look at what the president has done, it is less than what Zuma did, and which got Zuma to go to prison. But this is a president who is well aware of the repercussions of what will happen because of what he has done. But the president has been so adamant. Are you telling me no one has told him? No. It is him, and it's not the people who are surrounding him. So we should shun away from trying to blame other people for the problems of the president. It's like what they say, don't blame the pig for what sugar did. When someone gains a lot of weight and they say, oh, they are eating a lot of fat. But we all know that when you are eating something very sweet, you will still get fat because the same sweet stuff you are eating is what is converted into fat. So you start blaming, oh, it's the pork, you are eating too much pork, but someone is eating a lot of cakes. So let's make sure we call a spade, and we should condemn whatever is wrong. So I'll leave the other things to be tackled by the PS.
Doc, your views.
Yeah,
PS, sorry.
He's put me, he set me in the issue to do with governance. Very serious. I was laughing my whole time here, Ambassador. You see, when you talk about how the president is kind of reacting to things, I see it's a person that you can go to advise and you come back advised yourself. You know, you went to advise him, but you come back advised. Like you go back with you come back advised. The issues to do with water protection, I think you have really dived into that, Dr. Sampanda. I think I agree with everything that you have said in terms of how we must organize ourselves. But also, for me, I would say it has to be, if they are going to buy you, you must know that you lose the rights to yourself. You'll be giving your rights away. If someone brings things to you, eat them, but show them that you're not cheap. You must show every politician who will bring things to buy you off that you are not cheap. And the only way you do that is receive, go in the ballot booth and vote them out. It is your right. Assess where you are right now. Are you better off? I have had the conversation with some of the colleagues in the UPND government, and we have differed tremendously. For instance, they talk very well about the free education. Very well, they will tell you about it. But then I ask them one question. In this free education, which is so good and in so much difficult times, tell me where your children are right now. They are never in any government school with all that free education that we've had. We have abandoned the quality part of it, thrown it away. How come a person is a councillor today or is a member of the UPND today, he wins? I'll give an example of a public figure, my colleague Gilbert Luswaniso. Gilbert Luswaniso was a casual worker. He doesn't hide it. In 2019, he was a casual worker. He was fired and things like that. Between 2021 and 2026, how much has he accumulated? And then he goes and convinces people that are really sane that he has their best interest. Meanwhile, he's just accumulating wealth. He meets a Chinese on the street and gets shares in a mine immediately. And then he comes back to you and say, no, I mean well for you. Let's not get duped by the politicians. If they have not lived to the expectations, they need to be taken out. And do not allow to be brutalized. You would find that 3 people show up and they displace 100 people. Instead of us effecting a civil, what do you call the public, whatever, a citizen's arrest on them. The phone, I get back to the phone, is the most prized tool that we have for voter protection. And being there, being present. One day, the people that are doing all this will be called to account. They will be called to account. And colleagues, Zambians, do not allow yourselves to be used for political expedience, because when the law catches up, it will catch up with you alone with your family. There's so much hate that is being promoted. Let's not participate. Don't participate. And you know, for instance, Ambassador, you may not know this. I was in Livingstone, that's where I got trained. I went to work in Masuku. Masuku is 76 kilometers from Choma, deep beyond the Chief Sescavone. I was there. I was never discriminated against. I never had any tribal remark in that community. Until now, when you start to hear the president running the tribal tag. No, president. We can't allow the president to continue on this. And we cannot allow some people say, you can't go to this area because you are not from that area. We can't allow that. We must stop that aspect. But if the Zambians give him the mandate, it will be very, very difficult. It will be a difficult time. Maybe we would have learned something, but I don't see how that is going to change. So voter protection, people participate, vote, no voter apathy. Go to the line and vote and make your decision. Makebi Zulu and Brian Munduvire have offered an alternative.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let me take your last comments. Let's start with Dr. Brian Sampa.
So, my last remarks, I just want to direct this to all the supporters of the BM8 movement. You've come so far. I know most of you are worried about what's happening in Western Province. I just want to assure you that there is no better time for Munduvire to campaign than now. Because remember, everything they are trying to do to stop him, they are simply campaigning for him even more. And it's good that people are able to see who is violent. Because the president has been going around lying to people that Munduvire's team is violent, which is not true. So people are able to see, and this is a very good thing. Now, on that day, next week, Thursday, please remember to do exactly what we've said. When you see anything that is suspicious, report it, tell other people, and prevent it. If you see it gets so dangerous for you, find a safe place, but still communicate with other people. Don't be alone. Be in groups and ensure that wherever you are following whatever is occurring at your polling station until the last time when they count the last vote and the votes are announced. You can total that and move. But don't leave before the results are announced and before the results are counted. I also want to urge you, the students, whatever they are giving you, I can assure you, we were all students. We were given money before. Everyone enjoyed. Enjoy that money. It's your money. They were supposed to give you this money after all. But since they are giving you now, they think they can buy you. But we do know that Zambians are better than that. So get their things, eat their money. If they bring you milli meal, get it. It's yours. Balanda ati, umulembo wachipuwa upwira muli tumfueko. Anokuwa ati, uwali weshuru upwadi lipenene. Elo badi yako numba watu. So, hapo nomba pachile mwaka kwa divintu na pena. Bale chitave Philippines, they have so much money. I hear they are calling people to go and wear their regalia and they are given 100 kwacha. Go there, please. Get that 100 kwacha. It's yours. But when that day comes, make sure you go and vote for Munduvire because this is the only chance. Don't waste your votes. You all know that certain people who are standing there, even if you vote for them, they will lose. They won't even have a number of a constituents. So why would you waste a vote like that when there is somebody who has provided a very good alternative? He is going to look at your plight and he is going to make sure that all these things that we are talking about are handled. So vote for Munduvire on 13th and ensure that you secure your future. Zambia is at crossroads and the future is in your hands. Do you want democracy to continue? If your answer is yes to that, then the way to go is Munduvire. That is what I'll say, and I'll keep on urging you again to continue preaching to one another, telling each other about what Munduvire is saying. They are trying to distort the information every day. So make sure you listen when he's speaking and spread the word to those who may have doubts so that they all go and vote for Munduvire.
Thank you, Doc. Before I come to PS, there's a caller he's been trying. I didn't realize he was calling on the other line. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contributions. We are about to close.
Hello, Ambassador. Good morning. Good morning, Doc and the PS.
Good morning. Tell us your name and make your contribution.
Yes, Ambassador. I'll remain anonymous.
Thank you, Anonymous. Make your contribution.
Yes. My contribution will be on vote protection. I would like to know what our leaders, those in charge of the four staff that will be representing NRP party, have done to those staff that are put? Do they have the full information of how many polling stations are in a constituency, how many voters registered on a particular polling station, and maybe the total number of registered voters in constituency? Because I feel it's important for those that will be representing the party to have that information on the tip of their hands, just to be sure to say if it comes to counting at a polling station, they will know to say how many casted their votes, how many were rejected ballots, and how many people turned out to vote. That will help for us to keep records of the voters and the votes in counting, so that we know to say at a certain or particular polling station, this is the total number, and when we total them up together with the Queen in a constituency to a totaling center, we'll be able to go through and know to say these are the exactly votes that were casted, and this is the turnout, and this is how much and how many people casted their votes, so that we avoid the discrepancies to say no, this one has this figure, no, these ones are these figures. I feel it's more important for those people to be trained and to know numbers on a polling station and how many each constituency, the polling stations are in each constituency, those post staff, even the people that are helping, we also need to have that information. Because we, like for me, like I said last time, we formed a group. We have a group just as a community to say we have.
Well done.
In our constituency, we know how many polling stations are in a constituency and how many numbers and how many votes are in each and every polling station where we are at my constituency.
Well
so with
done.
That same group, yes. So with that same group, we even encourage others in other polling stations to do the same, even other constituencies, to say, have these numbers, ask from the chairman of any of the leaders of our party to say, you need to have this information, so that we can be calling each other and say, okay, at this particular polling station or constituency, we add them even before going to a totaling center. We already know so these are the figures that we have. So I feel even in other areas, our leaders need to do the same, to say those people that will be helping out, they need to have that information. That's what I really wanted to emphasize. Everyone needs to know, even if I'm just a member or even a supporter of President Banondo and Makebi Zulu, we also need to have those information. It will help us so that we don't have a chance to start, arguing, no, they give the wrong figures, because we already know what's on the ground. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's what we've been emphasizing on, that with a habit of leaving the issue of vote protection, ballot security, and the entire process to party agents and observers and monitors, thinking they'll do the job for us. This is supposed to be a community initiative. You are the one that is waking up at 0304, queuing up in the sun, in the cold. You are the one whose biggest duty it is to protect that vote. The others become secondary. And well done, madam, for doing what you are doing. And this is what we've been appealing, that wherever you are, there's an online register that is going around. Identify your constituency, go to your ward, go to your polling station, look at the details and form your own polling station committee. Identify where you're going to vote from, and then identify them. On that, there's a list of up to 900 people at a polling station. And you are right, you should know what forms a constituency, what forms a ward, and what forms a polling station. And how many polling stations are in that district? Is it one constituency or two constituencies? What is the total? That way, you know, if there's been ballot stuffing, you can easily identify that there's been ballot stuffing. Let me get the PS's last word.
Oh, thank you very much, Ambassador. And my last words really are about preaching peace. There is no need to hack each other down because of politics. We must refuse to be used as tools of violence. The leadership for all the political parties, we have a responsibility, please, to stop the violence. It's not good for our country. It's not good for our children. These children and these young people we are using as tools for violence today, they will turn against us the next day. We have only one country to live in. We live in the diaspora, yes. We may not be affected directly by violence, but ultimately we are family. We have a country that we love so much. To see young men, very energetic, that we can transform to be really nationalists that are going to be good examples of our country. Instead, we give them very little money and intoxicate them. And then, because you've differed on an opinion. It can't be that. And we have been pleading, President HH, come in and stop this violence. You can't allow people to just ignore like that. And that is why now we call that, no, if you can't protect us, then you must leave and bring other people in to stop the violence. You promised it. You said it. You said there will be no violence in markets, whether it be UPND, you can't be new thugs. But look at what your people are doing. And when they beat people, then they turn back those people that cannot advise you, turn back and manipulate. They manipulate the statistics and say, oh, no, 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 we were being attacked. No, 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 someone is putting on a regard. This violence has now moved from just ordinary people. It is going to the most people we trust most, the police. Starting to beat up police officers, really? No, this one for me, our ambassador, really touched me. Because I thought that we left that way back in 2021 when government changed, because it was one thing that the PF accepted that it was the reason for its removal. And it has come full throttle now. So the same verdict must be passed on this government. It must be removed. We must change it so that we continue on the path of peace. That is what I can say. So Brian Munduvire and Makebi Zulu are seeing what is happening, and I hope they'll provide a different path, which I think they will, because they've seen what it has done before they were in government and now in opposition and now about to form government. Please give them a chance to take the country forward. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and thank you, team, for your sacrifice and for staying very late for us while Zambia is just waking up, and for providing those in-depth analysis. I'd like to thank you so much for your sacrifice. We are back this evening. Hakuna Kulala. Martin Kalungu Banda is coming. You know, he's a renowned and acclaimed Zambian author, international leadership consultant, organization development expert. He's consulted from nearly every state house, from Rwanda, Ghana, Senegal. He's been everywhere. One of our, pride as Zambians. Martin Kalungu Banda will be with us today at 20 hours. Please join us. Hakuna Kulala. We want him just to give us insights into what a new government is expected to do. What's the state of our country, and how can we get our country out of the mess it is? And with his leadership development training that he does, what should leaders be? Who should be leaders? What should they do? So join us for that insight. And I'd like to thank my panel today of PS Chandakazia and my regular Dr. Brian Sampa for being with us today. You can say bye so that I let you go.
Thank you very much, and have a good one. Bye.
Thank you very much. You can log out. You are done. Before we go, I'm just going to play. First of all, let me just remind the nation that Vauden Findlay, renowned Lusaka businessman, was picked up in an unceremonious manner. We know it has something to do with the campaigns. He's been accused before of supporting the opposition, threatened. One of the reasons even Brian Mundwile's passport was seized. Remember, they brought in the name of Vauden Findlay. And this time again, they picked him up. We don't know where he is. Then there are 3 young men that were sent to Russia for training. Victor Mziamba, Dixon Tembo, Enoch Mwanza were abducted from the international airport upon their arrival, and we don't know where they are. Our Deputy Secretary General in charge of vote protection, Kenneth Kamba, remains detained, and up to now he has not been charged with any offense. Today, we remember the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. It's been 14 months since his passing, and today, remember, he passed on 5th June. Today is 5th August 2026. I'll be playing Catherine Kaunda's interview about Sam Nujoma. We lost Catherine Kaunda. She was the firstborn daughter of Zambia's first president, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda. We understand there are issues. We've appealed to the family and to the state to quickly move in. She's been a resident in Namibia for many decades, since the 1990s. I think she traveled back home, to rest in Zambia. And we remember her contribution. Here is an interview that she did to the Namibian Broadcasting Corporation just after the demise of Sam Nujoma, who was so gracious to our country. Sam Nujoma was like a Zambian. When he became president of Namibia, he took our entire qualified staff to establish State House, to run. The Chief Justice was from Zambia, the Chief of Staff at State House was from Zambia, and Secretary to Cabinet was from Zambia. They were so intertwined with Namibia. And when the family of Dr. Kaunda, like it is a silly habit in our country of harassing former presidents, Nujoma stepped in and offered a house to Dr. Kaunda and offered a home to Dr. Kaunda. So did Dos Santos in Angola, because they were recognizing the contribution that Dr. Kaunda had made. So listen to this video, then you close.
Situated behind St. George's in Windhoek is the house of the late founding president of Zambia, Kenneth Kaunda, where his daughter Catherine Kaunda now lives. This house was given to her father by the late founding president, Sam Nujoma. And today, as we stand here, this house is filled with memories of the 2 founding presidents of Namibia and Zambia. History has it that Zambia's founding president, Kaunda, encountered the late Nujoma at one of the African Frontline State meetings. Over the years, as they attended these meetings, the two became relatively close, until up to a point where Kaunda supported Namibia's liberation struggle.
When I was already grown up, that's why I used to, they knew the relationship between me and Sam, Uncle Sam. When he wanted to speak to the old man, he was given first priority. He didn't wait for appointments. If he arrived that night, the old man is on, he would be taken there immediately to see him. They had, it was more than, comradeship. It was just brotherly love between them. The relationship was so great just from the beginning, and I didn't know that it would lead to that, for me to come to Namibia.
Kaunda says the relationship between the 2 statesmen was so close that they stood by each other's side, including when her late father flew from Zambia to attend the funeral of Nujoma's mother, Helvi Kondobolo. She also recalled a time when her father was admitted in a hospital in Windhoek and Dr. Nujoma paid him a visit. She says the death of Nujoma brought back memories of her father and the ordeals she went through in 1999 when her father became nationalist in Zambia following changes to the constitution. When she was recalled from her position as a foreign diplomat, she lived in South Africa as a refugee with her father and brother before moving to Namibia. In 2013, the Namibian government donated a house to her father as part of its support to his family.
So they were all waiting, and there were people, a lot of people waiting there from the was done there as he laughed at me. Then he said, Majestically, welcome to my residence. And everyone the new obtained residency. And everybody was clapping for him.
Known as Uncle Sam to her, Kaunda also recalled the support Nujoma gave her during her cancer battle in 2010.
He called me to the office. He said he sent a draft for me. I was at work and I went there. I had already started chemo. And then he said, my daughter, I hear you're not feeling well, but I know this disease needs you to be eating well. But what I've done, from your mother's pocket money, I got 3,000 for you to buy food. That's how close. I was touched, to give me, that was a lot of money those days.
President Kaunda, who served as Zambia's first president in 1964, died on 17 June 2021 at the age of 97. On his 95th birthday, the late Kaunda received this frame of pictures depicting memories and moments shared between him and the late founding president, Sam Nujoma, and former president Hifikepunye Pohamba. This frame, Catherine keeps at the entrance of the house as a way to show visitors the relationship that existed between Namibia and Zambia over the years.
Their registration plates at all times. We further urge the RTSA and Zambia Police Service to enforce the law consistently and impartially, regardless of political affiliation, in order to promote accountability and strengthen public confidence in the electoral process. We move to the second issue. Now, TIZ has closely followed the Electoral Commission of Zambia's management of the ballot paper printing exercise, which was conducted in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We commend the Commission for taking deliberate steps to enhance transparency throughout the exercise by accrediting representatives of political parties, civil society organizations, election observers, and members of the media to witness the printing process. The Commission also provided very regular public updates and responded to concerns related to different aspects such as ballot paper quantities, excess ballot papers arising from booklet printing requirements, as well as candidates whose names remained on the ballot after withdrawal and other operational matters. These efforts contributed positively to strengthening stakeholder confidence in the ballot printing process. But at the same time, TIZ noted concerns that were raised by some stakeholders regarding the delay in the arrival of ballot papers in the country, as well as the costs incurred by political parties to observe the printing process. While the Commission addressed many of these concerns publicly, the discussions demonstrate that continuous stakeholder engagement and timely communication remain very essential during sensitive stages of the electoral process. TIZ therefore encourages the ECZ to maintain the same level of openness and proactive communication throughout the remaining stages of this electoral process. Equally, political parties and other stakeholders should raise concerns responsibly and avoid circulating unverified information that may unnecessarily undermine public confidence in the Commission or indeed in the electoral process itself. We move to the last issue. Now, as I said, we have noted with concern the continued involvement of some public officers in public political discourse during the election period, which is an issue that we have highlighted in a previous update. Most recently, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Media, Mr. Tawo Kawana, publicly urged Zambians not to support a return to the governance style associated with a former Patriotic Front administration while defending the record of the current UPND administration. Now, while government has a legitimate responsibility to communicate policies, programs, and achievements, public officers should exercise caution not to engage in partisan political campaigning. TIZ wishes to remind Mr. Kawana and other civil servants that are engaging in active political activities, whether in support of the ruling UPND or any other political party, that active participation in politics by civil servants constitutes gross misconduct. In particular, number G under category B of the Disciplinary Code and Procedures for Handling Offences in the Public Service explicitly makes it an offence for public officers to engage in active politics, including speaking in public on political matters. As we did in our fourth update on the 21st of July regarding Mr. Andrew Banda's active engagement in political activities while serving as Zambia's ambassador to South Korea, we again wish to amplify our call to the Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, to institute necessary disciplinary measures against the two public officials for brazenly abrogating this position. The deafening silence from the Secretary to the Cabinet when his officers are so publicly abrogating the disciplinary code as highlighted raises very serious concerns about political bias within the civil service, but is also an indictment on Mr. Kangwa's ability to exercise the authority of his office. The public service exists to serve all Zambians, irrespective of political affiliation. And during an election period such as we are in, it is particularly important that public officers remain professional, impartial, and politically neutral. Political debate, defense of party records, and criticism of political opponents should remain a preserve of political party functionaries and not public servants whose remuneration is paid by the citizens of Zambia. We cannot overstate the importance of addressing this issue, and we challenge the Secretary to the Cabinet to make a public statement and assure the citizens of Zambia that he is not running a civil service that has effectively gone rogue and where his officers are not taken to task for abrogating the Public Service Disciplinary Code with impunity. In the same vein, TIZ is concerned by the participation of the Zambia National Service Commander during a recent engagement between President Hakainde Hichilema and students from the University of Zambia at State House. During that engagement, the commander highlighted interventions that have been undertaken by ZNS and spoke about improvements in sanitation at the university, among other achievements attributed to the government. While public institutions have a legitimate role in reporting on programs that they implement, the timing and context of such presentations during an active election campaign require very careful consideration. Security institutions, in particular, are expected to maintain operational neutrality and political impartiality, and their public communication should avoid creating perceptions that they are being drawn into advancing a political narrative or indeed endorsing the achievements of any one political party during an election season. As I conclude, as Zambia approaches a polling day, TIZ wishes to remind all stakeholders that the credibility of an election is not determined by what happens on polling day alone, but by the conduct of political parties, public institutions, candidates, and citizens throughout the whole electoral process. We therefore encourage all stakeholders to continue acting in a manner that promotes transparency, accountability, respect for the rule of law, and peaceful political participation. For our part as an organization, we remain committed to objectively monitoring the electoral environment and constructively engaging stakeholders in the interest of strengthening public confidence in Zambia's democratic processes. We have noted some extreme reactions to these updates, including accusations by the UPND Deputy Secretary General that we are targeting her party, and we wish to put it on record that nothing could be further from the truth.